The original Greedfall isn't perfect, but one of the things that gets said about the game is that it has bad combat, that the combat is clunky and difficult to manage, and that it's otherwise not very much fun to play. And this really isn't the case, which is why so many people are really angry, I think, about the fact that the combat has been completely overhauled. They don't feel like that needed to be done, they feel like it needed to be improved upon. I think a lot of the complaints that we're about to see and that we are seeing now really aren't centered too much on anything else about the game. There's a lot that came out in this little video clip that's actually quite good to look at, and if it wasn't for this combat business overshadowing this whole thing, I think we'd be quite excited. One of the positives is the open world UI. It's not cluttered, there's familiar icons, the camera angle is nice and open, the character's centered in the middle of the screen, you can see where the icons are and where you're going, it looks good. So far as the combat UI is concerned, it's a little cluttered at the moment. I'm pretty sure they'll clean that up as they go along. The real issue seems to be this Dragon Age, Baldur's Gate style combat that has a lot of people second guessing whether or not they actually want to get this game. It doesn't look enjoyable to them. As far as the tactical pause is concerned, I think that's an improvement over the original Greedfall and what the game had in it, but it's being attached to this Baldur's Gate style of gameplay that really doesn't suit the Greedfall philosophy. I mean, we're missing things like balance and armor and things of that nature that used to contribute so much to the combat. At this point though, it doesn't actually look like the player can even be knocked off their feet or knocked unbalanced even, let alone thrown. So this is going to have implications for things like crafting as well. Crafting in the original game was a trade-off between traits like balance, armor, attack damage, and damage reduction, and the player would have to make those decisions for themselves based on their playstyles. Here we have a new character, Sheeta. I'm not sure if she's a permanent addition or not. She's a tank. She looks a lot like Aveline, in my opinion at least, from Dragon Age 2. Not too bad. Stealth is back, or at least sneaking is back anyway. We haven't seen any actual stealth kills yet. I'm not sure how they're going to incorporate that. It wouldn't be too difficult so long as you haven't been discovered, but it looks like being discovered is a lot easier, at least now in the alpha. Some more positives again though are that we can swap characters during combat now, and apparently we can swap characters outside of combat too. So if, for example, you have a character that's good with lockpicking, you can just swap over to that character. I think at one point later on in the video there's a guy who's good at sneaking and he's just running around using his special skills to disarm traps. Again, the art style's nothing really worth complaining about. There's no law-breaking upgrades. Hair looks good. It looks like hair. It doesn't look like ropes hanging out of people's heads. So the art style's going in the direction that you would think it would be for an alpha build. At the end of the day, I think this is just going to be a bridge too far for a lot of people. I think most people are just expecting to get more of the same. With slight improvements, I think they were expecting a more fast-paced and fluid combat, and I think they weren't expecting anything to be pushed in the direction that it has. This Dragon Age / Baldur's Gate style gameplay is really, I hope, not the beginning of a bunch of Gate-like games, and that we're not about to see the Baldur's version of Souls-likes taking over the RPG industry.